Hi soulmates, welcome back to class. So today we're going to be learning how to make this bubu and Ashoke dress. My client do not want it big, so we're not going to make it that big. I have my fabric and I'm going to be folding it up into four for both the front and the back, right? Then we're going to begin our markings on the fabric directly. So using the measurement I have, I'm going to mark the shoulder, divide by 2. Whatever the shoulder is, I'll divide it by 2. And then I'm going to drop it down by 1 inch, right? Then I'm going to mark the depth of my armhole. You could do bust divide by 6 plus 1.5 to get the depth of the armhole. And then the midpoint and go in by half an inch, right? Then the next measurement is our bust line. After marking our bust length, we're going to mark waist. But before then, on the armhole line, we're going to divide our bust and mark. We're dividing the bust by 4 and we mark it. And we also get the length of our bust line. We also get the length of our waistline and the length of the full gown, including our hip length. So once we mark the vertical measurement, we're now going to start marking the horizontal measurement. Everything is going to be divided by 4. Everything is going to be divided by 4. And of course, because it's a bubu, we're going to be adding extra 1 inch to it aside our seam allowance of 1 inch, ease allowance of 1 inch. Like I said, my client do not want it big. Even the 1 inch, I think she is going to complain that it's big. She wanted it quite fitted. So you can make yours big by adding up to 4 inches or 3 inches or 2 inches depending on how you want it to come out. Okay, so I'll put all those markings together and connect them. Then we're going to curve our armhole, right? Like I said before, go in at the midpoint by half an inch and then connect it to the bust divide by 4 on the armhole line. Now for the neck, we're going to mark 3.5 inch. Or you could do 4 inches because we are not going to be having zipper at the back, and the depth of the neckline for the front is different from the back. For the front I did 8 inches, the V-shaped neckline 8 inches, and then the back is 1 inch. Okay, so remember that we put front and back together, so I'll mark them together, but I'm going to cut the back first, remove it, and then cut for the front. Okay, so I got my curve ruler, well, the straight ruler that I'll use to mark the V-shaped neckline. Okay, so I want to make sure that it's visible even though I think I can see it. Okay, so once all of this is marked, highlighting them is very necessary for us to see it properly, right? So once everything is done, we are now going to grab our scissors and start sewing. I just need to highlight it more so that every one of us would see it. So get our scissors and cut everything out, as you can see in the video. So once this is done, we're going to remove one for the back and then use the first one as the front. We're not going to cut the V shape, use it as the front, right? So once we've gotten to this level, we're now going to cut the facing for the front. The front is going to have a facing and the back as well is going to have a facing. So we're going to make a facing for the front. To make a facing, you need to get a piece of fabric, place it on the fabric that you've cut already, and trace out the neckline, the shoulder, and a little of the armhole if necessary. So it's basically shaping the pieces in line with the main fabric so that the two of them will take the same shape, right? So I'm going to cut the neckline for the facing and then cut every other part that I need, the shoulder, and that is it. So after the neckline, I will go down a bit by about 3 inches and connect it towards the tip of the shoulder, right? So you don't need so much to do with this. I'll go down by about 3 inches, and from there I will curve. Okay, I'll connect to the measurement for my shoulder. Remember that or note that the shoulder is going to be inside the shoulder as well, and we don't want it to be quite big. Of course, it is wider than the main shoulder, meaning that we're going to reduce it when it's time to fix it on our garment. So this is what we have. Well, it's now time for us to fix the Asoke. And now I fixed my facing before the Asoke. The facing is inside, and then I've trimmed the Asoke to match up with the shoulder of my garment. So when you do something like this, you're going to fold it over. If not, it's going to fray. You're going to bend the edges of the Asoke so that it will not be coming out when you fix it. So I'll place the Asoke like this on a V shape, following the measurements or the direction of my actual neckline. You can see the way it's placed. And then we're going to follow the midpoint of the neckline and mark it on a straight line. I hope you understand what we're talking about here, or what we're trying to do here. So from the midpoint of the neckline, I'll take it on a straight line, and after sewing it down, this is what it's going to look like. Everything is going to meet together. So all you have to do is to make sure that you sew on a straight line at the midpoint of the neckline. Okay, so I'm marking this out so that we'll see what I am about to do. When I do it, you're not going to look confused. So where I'm marking the chalk is actually how I'm going to sew it down. So I'll take it to the sewing machine and sew it down on that part that I have just marked. So this is what we have after putting it together, after sewing it together. Now I'm going to cut off the excess on the part that I just sewed on a straight line. I'm going to cut off the excess. Okay, once I cut it off and fix it, will be easy for us to iron it down and everything will be looking beautiful. Okay, so once you cut it off, all you have to do is to pin it down at the center of the neckline. Pin it down on the center of the neckline so that it will be easy for you to now top stitch it down. So now I'm placing it, and once I place it, it's just going to be stitched down. Nothing else is going to be done on it, just going to be stitched down. So I'll use my pin and hold them together. So after stitching it down, the next thing is to get our back, of which we have done the facing for the back. We're going to put the shoulders together. We're going to use the facing for the back to turn the shoulder line for the front, right? So I'm going to use the facing, fold it this way, and sew the shoulders. so that it comes out really neat. I know some persons might not do it this way because they feel their showcase is going to be hard, but it's not. So this is going to serve as the sleeve, which I did not actually film the finished part. And of course, any sleeve of your choice can serve. And voila, we are done with our showcase gown. Thank you for watching.